Good morning. It's time to call to order the May 18th meeting of the Oklahoma City Economic Development Trust. First item on our agenda is to approve the minutes of the April 26, 2016 Oklahoma City Economic Development Trust meeting. We have a motion to approve. A second. Any discussion? Please cast your votes, and it is approved. Next is to ratify the OCEDT claims.
Second.
The motion is second. Any questions or discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes, and they're ratified. Next are items for individual consideration. First up is an amendment to the Criterion Development LLC. Mr. Bryan, are you going to present that, or is Kathy?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Back in 2005, the Criterion Development LLC started working with us to develop the Criterion project. When TIF was allocated, there was an allocation of $350,000 to help them with assistance and development financing, which is essentially as they create increases in taxes, we'd provide it back to them over a period of time. There was also a $200,000 allocation for an alleyway and public improvements. As we finished the alleyway, we had a little over $100,000 of funds to help the developer with public improvements along Charlie Christian on the north-south road there and along Sheridan. And the contract said public improvements, but then it also said streets, curbs, and gutters. And just as an effort to clarify what our intent was, we're seeking this amendment to clarify and elaborate what public improvements are, which are more than just street, curbs, and gutters. It's things along the right-of-way, and that's what we're trying to accomplish with this amendment here. And Matt Maley is here today with the Criterion if you have any questions.
Quick clarification. You stated 2005. Is it 2005 or 2015?
I meant 2015. I apologize.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, John. We have a motion to approve. A second. Is legal satisfied with the amendment?
Yes, we believe that it's appropriate to clarify the language in order to make it explicitly clear.
Okay. The recommendation is to acknowledge and to accept the corrected memo. And we have a motion to second. Please cast your votes. And it's so done. Next on our agenda is the joint resolution approving the allocation of the corrected memo on the accounting annual audit.
This is the new audit firm that the city has selected to do all of the audits and prepare the comprehensive annual financial report for the city, so we always use the same auditor that the city does.
Okay, we're asked to acknowledge and accept the corrected memo with regards to the audit.
Move approval.
We have motion to second. Any discussion? Please cast your votes. And it is so ordered. Now, C, joint obligation of the City of Oklahoma City approving the allocation of general obligation limited tax bond proceeds and the investment proceeds of $600,000 for Progrexon Economic Development Agreement.
I think you will recall we had a presentation from this company several months ago when you authorized the general manager to negotiate this agreement. Just as a reminder, they plan to create over 500 new jobs, and their incentive payment is based on 534 new jobs with a first-year average wage of $33,288. And I think that's about it. And they're going in which location, Kurt? Are they? The former Lucent facility. That's what I thought. So also taking advantage and using a facility that's been on the market for a while.
Do we know where they are on their employment numbers at this point?
They're above 75.
We have motion and second. Any further discussion? Please cast your votes. And it is so done. Next item is the agreement between the City of Oklahoma City and Progrexon.
This is basically the same The same thing, yeah. The first item approved the allocation, and this one is the agreement, so.
So moved.
And this is performance-based, so should the jobs not get added or the salary level not be reached, and there's also a capital equipment component,
Yes,
should it not be done, then
yes.
The stops.
It's all of our agreements are performance-based, and this is in the same format as the ones in the past.
How about just a brief overview for people who may have just tuned in on what this company does?
Good morning. For the audience and all, I'm Kurt Foreman with the Chamber. Progression, they spell it weird, but it's pronounced progression, just like if they'd spelled it the right way.
Now you tell me after I...
No, that's okay. I wasn't going to yell that out. But Progression is a firm that works with law firms and with people who are going through credit challenges, and they help them through credit repair processes. They're well regarded. They're growing very fast in the United States, which obviously is a symptom of challenges that people have. But they've chosen our market and the OKC Works facility to put in a major service center to work with people from around the country to call in, and they're affiliated with some law firms around the country as well.
Thank you, sir. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes. And it is so done. Next is a joint resolution, again with general obligation limited tax bond proceeds, dealing with the Boeing project.
Yeah, this project is an expansion of Boeing's presence in Oklahoma City. They plan to add 900 new jobs at Southwest 59th and Air Depot. They have almost completed the construction of a new $80 million, about 250,000 square foot facility there. These jobs are involved in research and development activities related to aviation, defense aviation. So kind of the first relocation of this kind of operation to Oklahoma City from Seattle.
I'd like to move approval.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, please converse, and it is approved. Next on our agenda is a item dealing with Paycom.
Again, this one is an allocation of funding to Paycom. I think this is the third project that we've done with them for $1.2 million, adding 492 jobs in Oklahoma City. They plan to build a third building at their location in far northwest Oklahoma City. So another great addition to the local economy at a time when we need jobs.
And again, another pay-for-performance type of contract.
Yes, pay for performance, and we, analyze the data every year, make sure that they've created the jobs, that they reach the average wage threshold, that they've made the capital investment, and then we determine the amount of incentive that they get each year.
We have a motion from the trustees. Is there a second? Second. Any discussion or questions? Seeing none, please cast your votes. And it is so completed. Next is the First Amendment dealing with Tapstone Energy, LLC.
I may let Brent explain this one. This is an amendment to the agreement just to clarify some language that, as they were going through and working with Tapstone, that they believe needed to be resolved, no increase in the cost for the agreement.
Right. As we were working with Tapstone, as you are well aware, as we've looked at our processes of how we do our projects and how we administer them and the contracts, when we were evaluating this one, we needed to seek an amendment to allow the general manager flexibility as it relates to the liquidated damages or the penalty clause as a result of people not providing this information within 120 days. We've been working with Tapstone in an effort to provide a good audit trail for our project and to give the general manager authorization. All we're doing is seeking the amendment. This is a similar amendment that we did on the Boeing project. As a result of the audit, one of the things that we've talked about is we would bring things back to you as needed. If there's not a need to amend a contract, we won't, but this is one of those that we felt like this was on the as-needed basis, so that's what we're trying to do today.
Brent, have we had issues with others in time frame of supplying their information?
Yes, we have. We have those that are diligently looking into it, trying to get the data in the proper form that we've asked them to provide it to us. We've had others, though, that just, I want to say, disregard our requests, and on those we do apply that. But those that are in good faith working with us, we try to administer it properly.
So bottom line, if they don't supply the information, they don't get paid.
That's correct.
Okay. I'd like to move approval.
Do we have any of that category still outstanding, or does this kind of wrap it up and get all the ones
At
in
this
line?
point in time, we have, I know we've got about 3 or 4 others that we need to look at in a little more detail, but there might be 1 or 2 left where we might need to do this, but I don't want to say that we're totally complete, because we've got a significant amount of contracts out there that we have to administer and look into, and but I'd hate to say that this was the last one, but we're trying to get to the last one, I can assure you that.
But did you mean, are we having trouble getting information from anybody?
Well, now, where do we stand? I heard the word disregard.
Right.
I think what he wants to know
which
is,
is
do we
kind of-
have any companies that aren't providing us the information when we ask them?
Yes. And yes. And there are those that have gone a year or 2 without, and we've got a list that we'll be bringing back to y'all probably in the near future of ones whether we want to terminate the contract, or, what's your desire to do as a result of them not fulfilling all their obligations of the contract.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please cast your votes. And it is so ordered. Next on our agenda is the budget for next year.
Budget for next fiscal year for the Economic Development Trust, and I think Brenton has a presentation about this.
Yes, sir. Today I'd like to present to you the 2016-2017 proposed budget for the Oklahoma City Economic Development Trust. The budget totals $104 million, which is an increase of around $17.5 million from this current fiscal year. The project proposes a TIF budget of $73.3 million, an SIP program budget of 26.8, and a general economic development budget of 3.9. Key assumptions include there will be additional borrowings for TIF District Number 2 to meet cash flow needs, and it also includes funding for the Chamber contract, the Alliance contract, the Myriad Gardens Foundation, the Outlet Mall marketing, and staff reimbursement to the general fund, which we commonly refer to it as a chargeback. So TIF District Number 2 and 3 anticipates total expenditures of around $24 million. There's 10 different projects right up there. I won't go through each one of them, but those are projects that are coming to completion and that will require some form of payment to them. It also includes, the budget includes a payment of $2.8 million in debt service, and TIF 2 and 3 also anticipates around $9.4 million of income from the increment district, an additional $750,000 of minimum ad valorem tax payments. That's what we're receiving this year, and we anticipate a little bit more. We anticipate about the same amount. It also includes about $360,000, as you'll recall. TIF 2 TIF 3 is the sales tax portion of the TIF district for the Skirvin Hotel, and what we do is we capture the 2% portion that goes into the general fund each year, and then the state matches that. We anticipate that to be around $360,000, and then we get an additional $360,000 from the state. And then we also envision drawing down on our line of credit that was on May 11th. We closed on the increase of our line of credit when we went from $18 to $25 million. We anticipate drawing down on that line of credit in the next fiscal year. TIF District 4 and 5, this is the real name is the Oklahoma River TIF, that we call it the Dell TIF. This one anticipates expenditures of around $2.4 million and with a payment of $1.5 million to pay down the line of credit that we have for TIF District number 4. TIF District number 4, the line of credit on that is currently outstanding balance is around $4.8 million. And we anticipate paying $1.2 million this next month as we get the ad valorem payments in every June from the county. So once we get that money in, we plan on paying down that another $1.2 million, and then as we go into next fiscal year, we plan on paying down another $1.5 million to get us around $2 million in outstanding debt at that time. We also anticipate $300,000 in sales tax TIF as a result of the jobs that are created out at Dell, and then we also anticipate the state match in the budget.
Question, we have a state anticipation on 2 and 3 coming back
Yes,
from the
sir.
state.
Yes.
We also anticipate here, is there any opportunity for the state to say, that's it, we're not going to give you that match, or is that guaranteed?
I'd have to consult with legal on that to see where we stand on.
Because they're fooling around with different things out there.
Yes.
We'd be happy to get you more information and
Will you?
provide
Okay.
that.
Thank you. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. The next one is TIF District 8. This is the Devon sales tax, Devon TIF. It's totals $41 million for fiscal year 16-17. Anticipates funding a portion of streetscape packages 6A and B and 7A and B. The pedestrian plaza that will be just to the east of the garage over by the Oklahoma Tower Oklahoma Tower, corporate tower. It also anticipates the minimum tax requirement payment that Devon has agreed to pay of $11.3 million. For the strategic investment program, we received the final allocation of GOLD funds yesterday. They closed on the bonds that were issued a couple of weeks ago. We closed on that, received an additional $12 million. So we've received all of the $75 million to date. What we anticipate this next year, the budget is a total of 26.8, and we anticipate job creation payments for Tapstone, Continental, Grocery Supply, Paycom, 2, Boeing 1, 2, and 3, and Able, Progression, and General Electric, and there'll be and others. It also includes the funding for the Alliance for Economic Development, a portion of their contract, and then a portion of the Chamber of Commerce contract, a small portion of that. When companies provide where they submit an application, that money goes, they submit it to the chamber, and then when the chamber submits an invoice, that comes out of that budget. And then the General Economic Development includes payments related to the Economic Development Trust, the Economic Development Foundation, which is the chamber. That's where the bulk of their contract is paid out of. And all of this mainly comes from a transfer from the city's general fund. And then the Myriad Gardens Foundation, their monthly subsidy. I will point out that the Myriad Gardens subsidy declined 5%. The city had to reduce their budgets by 5%. They did that, and the budget reflects that. There's also the outlet shops reimbursement for marketing expenses, and we also included the Cabela's retail. We did not include anything in there for the Von Maur project because they did not meet the requirements this past year, and so we did not budget for that for this year. And then, again, all of these are funded by the general fund. One thing I wanted to point out, Trustee Pickens asked me this question. We did not include the Northeast Renaissance TIF. We will include that in the next fiscal year just because of the timing and everything. We'll do that in the next fiscal year, which will be 17-18. So it's a $104 million budget. It's an increase from the prior year. It funds our base services. We'll bring this back to you on the 28th. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call me or Kathy, and then we'll take it to the City Council, and they'll receive it on July 5th. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, sir. Questions for Brent?
On the $26.8 million for the strategic investment program.
Yes, ma'am.
Where are we on that balance at this point with that obligation?
I remember the numbers if you
Okay.
want me to.
Yes, go ahead.
We've allocated about $64.5 million of it for about 11,500 jobs. That's what we've allocated. Now, as Brent mentioned, there may be some projects that we choose to cancel. So, and we do have some time to get through. We still need the money to get through until the city decides whether or not to include something in the next bond authorization. So.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? We've been asked to receive this report. Can I get a motion to receive?
Motion to receive.
We have a motion to receive and seconded. Any discussion votes, and it is so received. Next on our agenda, comments from staff. Glad to be here, all right. Any comments or questions from trustees? You're glad to be here, too.
I'm not a dentist.
We may take a motion to a new resolution. We're glad to be here. For those of you that may not understand, one of our trustees is going through a root canal right now, and that's why people are more pleased to be here than not here on the trustee issue. Next on, when are citizens to be heard? Seeing no citizens, thank you for your attendance. We are adjourned.